guys, it's Aoife from Words of Clover and I'm here to talk about some books I have on my TBR that are about nature. Because the Springathon is actually taking place during April, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to read a bunch of books about to take part in the Springathon, depending on how my kind of TBR for the month goes. But there are definitely some books that kind of fit in for the theme of Springathon that I think would suit. So I wanted to talk about these books that I have in my TBR if anyone else is looking for books to read during the month to take part in Springathon. First book I want to talk about is a book I actually do have like lined up on my Kindle to read soon enough. I don't know whether it'll be in April or in early May, but it's called Bitch, A Revolutionary Guide to Sex, Evolution and the Female Animal by Lucy Cook. And this one is basically like kind of what it says like on the title. Lucy Cook is looking into the female species and what we think we know about what it means to be female like in nature. And she's looking at zoology and like evolutionary biology. And it says here that the bitches in Bitch overturn outdated binary expectations of bodies, brains, biology and behaviour. Lucy Cook's brilliant new book will change how you think about sex, sexual identity and sexuality in animals, and also the very forces that shape evolution. And yeah, I just think it sounds really good, and it has really good ratings as well on Goodreads, so it's one I definitely want to read soon. Another book I've been really interested in reading ever since I actually saw it in, I get a subscription to BBC Wildlife magazine every month, and it's a book I saw recommended in that, and ever since that then I've had it kind of on my want to read shelf on Goodreads, and that's called Bird Brother by Rodney Stotts. And this one's really interesting. It's about a man called Rodney who grew up in America in southeast Washington DC in the late 1980s, and he kind of grew up at a time where and kind of in an area I think where drugs was really rampant, and kind of to get ahead or to get any money or things like that, it was kind of expected that you might end up in the drug trade in some way. And I do think he did at some point in his life. He ended up getting in trouble because of drugs, but throughout kind of his life he's always been really interested in natural history, but in particular into birds and into eagles and falcons and things like that, that obviously have kind of a strong connection with America as well. And he ends up kind of, I don't know whether studying or training in falconry, and he kind of becomes one of the first kind of black falconers. I don't know whether it's in the world or in America, but this is kind of his story about his childhood, his experiences growing up and where he grew up, and then his experiences with nature, and then how he kind of changed his life around and ended up getting this relationship with birds, and kind of pursuing his passion and making it a career and being really successful at it. So yeah, I think it sounds really good, and it's one, since the first moment I read about it I was like, this sounds really excellent, really unique, and I really want to read it. The next book I want to read is Dalvi, 6 Years in the Arctic Tundra by Laura Galloway. I don't know where I saw this. I have a feeling, I don't know whether it was possibly Olive, but I'm not sure. It kind of sounds like something that she would talk about and I would want to read. I get a lot of like my nature recommendations from her. This is about a woman called Laura. This is kind of her memoir about how she I think she was in a relationship with someone who she ended up leaving her life in New York and moving to, I think, the Arctic tundra, and she ended up staying for 6 years. And this is about her time in a reindeer herding village in Arctic Norway, forging a solitary existence as one of the few Westerners living among one of the most remote cultures on Earth. Both a heart-rending memoir and a love letter to the singular landscape of the region, Dalvi explores with great warmth and humility what it means to truly belong. And yeah, this just sounds really good. I think really interesting. I also really love kind of like the pastel-y cover as well on this book. It's like very calming and very nice, and yeah, it sounds really good, so I'm really interested in reading that one. And then the next two books I want to talk about are actually ones I did talk about when I was talking about my Irish Readathon TBR, but I didn't get around to them, but they also suit for like books about nature, so I wanted to talk about them again if you didn't see that. So the first one is Listen to the Land Speak by Magan, and in this one Magan is kind of looking into, I guess, Irish ancestry and how Irish ancestry is linked to the land and to the Irish landscape, and kind of taking steps back and seeing how he himself, I think, can connect to the land and what he can learn from it. It should be really good, and I've enjoyed his previous book, so I'm really interested in reading this. And then another one I talked about previously was A Natural Year by Michael Fewer, and this is basically what it says on the tin, which is that it is a diary from Michael. I don't know whether this is possibly set during the pandemic and obviously people were at home and probably were like looking at nature a lot more, but he is talking about the nature he's seen outside, the changing landscape, and kind of like just documenting what he's seeing and what he's experiencing in Irish nature. And I just think it will be a really gorgeous read, and again, I really love this book as well. I think it's just so beautiful. So yeah, these are ones that I definitely want to pick up. So that is it for kind of like my nature TBR. I don't have like a set timeline for when I want to read these, but these are just some that I have on my TBR that I would like to read, and I would want to share with you guys in case, as I said, anyone else is looking for any kind of like nature themed books to read either in the future or for during springathon. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.